Hear ye, hear ye. This is Sellout Podcast. I'm Adam Even.
And PJ Adder.
PJ Adder in the house. Alright, so if you haven't learned it by now, we are up to our necks in Lucha Underground. And we are starting to get into the meat. A lot of characters are introduced. Fussing with a bread clip or something. So the characters are introduced. You're starting to meet your major cast. And in the previous episode, there was a huge amount of fallout from the $100,000 bullshit thing.
Yeah.
Where John Morrison, his heart was the money, and he had it ripped out by
Big Rick and the boys.
Dario Cueto, declaring, "Yeah, this was not $100,000 for me to be impressed with. This is $100,000 of contract fee for Big Rick and the boys."
Yeah.
All right, and so we got a really cool tag team match, with Prince Puma and John Morrison against Cisco and Cortez. Cisco and Cortez losing, but showing that they're not one to fuck with.
They're pretty competent.
And that honestly, Puma may be finding a friend in John Morrison.
Yeah, they worked well together.
Only to immediately be met by a waiting, I'm gonna learn his name eventually.
Conan.
A waiting Conan in the back locker room saying, "Hey, I'm your only friend, boy.
You can't trust him.
Don't trust John Morrison." So, again, endless prodding from Dario Cueto into Chavo Guerrero, saying, "Yeah, you couldn't cut it. I'm having to find somebody else." This somebody else, a man named Mil Muertes, the Thousand Deaths. And he had a lady with him. Here comes the hurricane, Katrina. And Katrina found Blue Demon working out, gave him a taste before 1,000 deaths, and that was our main event: Blue Demon versus
Mil Muertes.
Katrina kissing the taste of the opponent into the mouth of Mil Muertes. Mil Muertes proceeded to deliver an ass whooping that reminded Blue Demon Jr. that, oh shit, this is what surviving in a match is like.
Yeah.
And probably that's something he's experienced for a long time, because he may be junior in name, but he is senior in age.
Yeah.
And
he's
you
one of
just
the
had
older members of the roster.
A bigger, a badder, a younger, a stronger Mil Muertes, just delivering the pain. He hit flatliner, and beat the shit out of him after the match, and it kept going until Katrina delivered a mysterious wrapped object that commentary called a stone. We haven't seen it's a stone, but I'm assuming either writing-wise there was a fuck-up, but this mysterious object that seemed to calm him down. I don't know, maybe what, the remnants of the burnt remnants of a family home, a la Cain. Cain.
Kane.
Yeah. So Mil Muertes may have calmed down, but Chavo Guerrero came out with a chair, and he was not done beating the shit out of Mil Muertes. And also, anyone stupid enough to come out to the ring from the locker room, including Bitch, who proceeded to take the most satisfying chair shot to the head. The last we seen of Blue Demon was being delivered to the hospital in an ambulance as we saw it pan out of the cityscape of floodlights.
Yeah.
And that's all we know up till what we're about to play. God, we're already 5 minutes deep into this.
Yeah.
But
that's just the setup.
Look, in case you aren't watching it, I figured I would deliver some stronger
previously on
some stronger dialogue in case you are, in fact, taking the bath and listening to my sultry voice. In case you are, in fact, driving and really want to have the dialogue of a wrestling promotion. And on the off chance that somewhere down the future, Dario Cueto's doing some awesome shit again.
He seems like he's trying to.
It's a you will have this easy thing to listen to and get all of the lore and the dialogue and our personal opinions on what is honestly some of the best writing to ever come to wrestling. 100% goes without saying. If any of these previous episodes have interested you in Lucha Underground, it's definitely something you need to watch. And even if you already... Oh, don't skip to episode 3, which is, I think, what we're watching now.
Yeah.
Just watch it. Go back and watch it. My delivery of it doesn't do it any justice. No podcast does justice to any piece of content of wrestling. Watch it yourself. You can't
Form your own opinion.
Form your own opinion. Watch it yourself. This is our own opinion. We are not the I hate everything people in wrestling. We are not the support wrestle talk type people who are only really scream out their favorite show while taking a dump on other shows. We just float to where we like. We find the things we enjoy, and we are enjoyers of this show called wrestling.
This brand of entertainment.
It's brand of entertainment. Anyway, but enough said. Let's dig in to Lucha Underground episode 3.
Yeah.
Lucha, 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 Lucha. So we come in on Dario Cueto's office. He's, of course, talking with Conan.
Yes.
And they're having a chit chat about how other wrestlers that could be brought into luchadors.
They're talking about the wrestlers that Conan has brought.
Yeah, so Conan is... I am not kidding. God is my witness. This is the dialogue from the show. Sneaking across the Mexican border, 3 luchadors.
Yeah, Cueto says, wasn't there some trouble at the border? And Conan was like, oh, we got that.
It's taken care of.
It's taken care of.
And the 3 luchadors he's sneaking across the border, one of them, I'm fairly certain, was made up for the show in the form of Drago.
Maybe.
The other 2 you are going to know these people. They are they go on to be the Lucha Brothers, Phoenix and Pentagon Jr.
Yeah.
Which heralds a very great time. I think the tribalists and the people with their thumbs up their ass would say peak Lucha Underground. But you know, that's more about where they keep their thumbs and less about their opinions of wrestling. But they will they go on to do some really interesting stuff in Lucha Underground. And that's about it for that little.
Well, it sets up a match for the.
It sets up the next match.
Not the next match, but like later on in the night.
Oh, well, yeah. So Dario Cueto essentially was just like, all right, fine. Well, I see your 3 boys, and I raise you a triple threat match against each of them. So it's going to be Drago versus Pentagon versus Phoenix.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm assuming, is going to be the main event for this card.
Probably, yeah.
They typically early set up the main event for the card. We head into the arena. Someone very familiar behind commentary. I'm fairly certain it's the guy who does commentary for the AML event, major events.
It's possible. I can't remember what he looks like.
But guys, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section. But that guy dressed in the Juggalo gear behind commentary, he did stuff for AML, right? I'm not like imagining things.
It's possible.
So the match we see a new wrestler in the ring.
Well, first of all, they gave a update on Blue Demon Jr.
Oh, they did?
Condition.
And?
They said he's in stable condition.
Okay, so he's not dead. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. We see a new wrestler in the ring. And Dario Cueto coming out to essentially mock the people in the temple.
Yeah.
Saying, oh, there's not enough lucha. Well, here's a lucha I found outside my favorite Mexican restaurant, mariachiing it up. His name is Mariachi Loco.
Yeah. And
he is set to fight the one and only midget of wrestling, besides Swoggle, Masquerade Sagrada. You'll know him as El Torito in WWE. I don't know if he does anything for Micro Wrestling or he's just retired or if he's even still alive. Hey, fact checkers, correct me. But
that's what a comment section's for.
Yeah, make me feel bad about my wrestling knowledge by saying he's a freaking woman now. How dare you? Like, I don't fucking know.
You never know.
Match itself was essentially not El Torito.
Masquerade
Sagrada was too fast for Mariachi Loco.
Yeah, it was basically one-sided. Mariachi Loco got a little bit of offense in, but not much.
Yeah, so that resulted in essentially the end of the match until... So, Masquerade won.
Of course.
Much to the hatred of Chavo running into the ring and beating the shit out of him.
Yeah.
You know, as Chavo does, he Chavo'd Masquerade Sagrada.
Yep.
And we're once again sitting on a splash screen, and that's about it.
Yep. Setting up for the next bit.
Obviously, Chavo is like, man, you're not fit for wrestling.
I'm just gonna beat up all the faces in the company.
I'm gonna beat up a midget. And it's like, buddy, you're only like a foot and a half taller than him. So he was barely taller than this guy.
If you're a fan favorite, I'm just gonna destroy you.
Post splash screen, we had a almost like a Talk is Jericho style podcast between Vampiro and Chavo Guerrero. It essentially boiled down to, why the hell did you attack
Blue Demon
Jr.? And then from there, why did you attack Masquerade?
Yeah.
And he essentially said, it's how the Guerreros have always been.
If you got on their bad side.
If we don't like you, we'll get rid of you.
Exactly.
And that, there was a lot of accusations thrown around that were just kind of out of character for Vampiro, saying you've been riding the coattails.
Yeah, it was kind of forced.
Of the Guerrero name. And I get it. It was to kind of his own, freaking jackass style, Juggalo Skid Row style person way of saying, are you going to be another one of Daddy's kids, or are you going to be your own thing?
Yeah, are you going to step out of the shadows of
And
your
he
family?
said, I'm stepping out of the shadows because I'm not going to be Blue Demon.
Yeah. I'm not going to be the person riding on my daddy's coattails.
The only reason Blue Demon is famous is because his dad gave him the mask.
Yeah.
Again, it got the point across, especially considering we had a really nice comic book scene.
And it kind of went well into the next segment.
Yeah. The next segment was that highly produced comic book scene style thing where you had...
Chavo was walking down the corridor.
Chavo was essentially, he's walking down the backstage corridor. Clearly, you could hear the audience cheering.
Yeah.
At the end of the hallway. So we had Conan essentially saying, yo,
the people back in Mexico.
People back in Mexico, I'm assuming he's talking about the cartels that helped sneak the other guys in. They heard what you did, and they are not happy, and it's only a matter of time before they find out what you did to Masquerade.
He's like, if I were you, I would leave.
I would make yourself...
I would disappear.
I would make yourself scarce, disappear, like a comprehensive immigration bill, like a ghost.
Like poof.
Poof. And so, he, not scared of the cartels or whatever is involved with what he's talking about,
He just brushes it off.
He brushes it off. Conan goes his merry way, and then Chavo noticed the lights flickering, and he looks over the lights, and when he looks back, there's Mil Muertes, and I almost gotta say, he had a look of betrayal in his eyes.
Yeah, it was like...
He was not angry. He looked like a sad puppy, almost. Like, how could you do this to me?
How could you do this to this tradition?
He was a bit grumpy anyway.
Yeah, well, he's always grumpy.
But, again, Mil Muertes being a person who... He has not said a word yet.
No.
He's one of those untalking people with a manager.
Katrina has talked the entire time for him.
And Katrina talked.
Yeah.
Katrina said, yo, you pissed Mil Muertes off. You took something that didn't belong to you. We don't know what that is.
Exactly.
But she said, he never forgets... And he will come and find you eventually, and she gave him that taste before 1,000 deaths, essentially, marking him for some time in the future.
And then he just walks off.
And, yeah, and then the lights flicker, she's gone, and he walks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, Chavo's fucked.
Yeah, in many different ways. And from all sides.
Yep. Yeah, so, it immediately went into what looked like a match.
Yeah, they're introducing people for the next match.
Obviously, the Chavo Guerrero is beset on all sides. Alright, let's get into this. Point of order clarifications. Chavo was leaving the arena, and
Mil Muertes was going into it.
And then was accosted by Mil Muertes and Katrina. In that order. As they were coming into the arena, and I just saw, because now, I'm probably doing this a little bit out of order, but that just shows how flabbergasted this last match was. There was a strange new wrestler in the ring, very obviously a jobber, and then we see Mil Muertes' music hits, and he comes into the arena. I'm like, this guy's gonna die.
Yeah.
This guy is going to die.
Screamed that.
I probably pissed off our neighbors because I was like, this man's so dead.
But first, didn't they do or they did it afterwards, didn't they? They did a video package.
Yes. That was after
After Mil comes to the ring, right?
The decimation.
Oh, God.
That happened.
That poor dude.
His
name was Ricky Mandel.
So, I don't know if you know who he was, but I'm fairly certain he retired from wrestling after that match because...
he got punched out of the sky.
If he didn't retire on his own accord, his mother found him at the morgue.
Yeah. I mean, Mil Muertes literally punched his face out of the sky.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. He went to the top, so Mil Muertes put him out of the ring. He countered, beat off Mil Muertes. He beat Mil Muertes away. He did not beat off Mil Muertes. And then he went to the top rope. Very greedily went to the top rope.
Yeah.
And then did whatever he was going to do. He jumped down. And Mil Muertes punched his soul out of his body.
And the camera just pans down to him afterwards, and he's just not there.
Essentially, he was picked up for a flatliner and put back down, and that was the match.
Yeah.
That was it.
And then afterwards, Katrina comes over to him, pulls his head up, and licks him with a kiss of death.
Yeah, she did the kiss of death, which has sealed the fate of a couple wrestlers at this point.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a very ritualistic type thing. That we're still learning the rules about. Because that's obviously, that kiss before 1,000 deaths, that meant Mil Muertes was meant to take care of Blue Demon.
Yeah.
But somebody else got to him. Anyway.
Also in that video package, they explained the stone that's in the thing.
Oh, shoot. I don't even know when that happened. Was it before or after the match? I think it was before.
I think it was right after he came to the ring.
It's a video package.
Right before, I can't remember.
It's a video package. You could literally put it anywhere in the show. Essentially, a long time ago, before all of this, Mil Muertes was a young child. This was before he was even going by the name Mil Muertes. An earthquake hit Mexico, rocked the shit, and killed his entire family, Cain style.
And he survived without fear in his family home in the rubble.
Yep, and it turns out, yes, that is in fact a rock inside of it. It is a shiny piece of stone from his house. It's the rubble from his house is inside that cloth. And I guess he gets solace because he was born in the dark, molded by it. You know? And that rubble calms him down from a blood rage. Because obviously...
It's like freaking Festus in the bell.
So, God, what terrible. Shame on you. So, obviously what we have here is... Because he didn't necessarily need the stone this time.
No.
So if
he
fights...
He did kiss it ahead of time, but other than that...
Certain times, at some point he's taken to a point during a fight where he needs that rock to calm down afterwards.
Yeah, it's like a reminder.
This fight did not involve the rock.
No, he didn't need it.
Not at all.
That dude was firmly out of it.
Mil Muertes firmly grasped him by the freaking spine and pulled it out through the front.
It's like Mortal Kombat.
It's so bad.
Fatality.
We go into a really cool, more of the comic book style video package with...
We see Cisco and Cortez outside of Cueto's office.
Yeah, outside of Cueto's office. And here comes John Morrison, and he beats their asses. Throws one of them through the door, and says, "Hey, Cueto.
I hear you want violence.
I hear you like violence. I want Big Rick. Give me Big Rick next week." And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure, bud. Yeah, no, you can have Big Rick. In the main event of next week, as a matter of fact. Sweet. Glad we could see eye to eye. When I'm done with Big Rick, it's your ass."
Yeah, I'm coming after you after him.
Mm-hmm. He wants a sanctioned match against just Big Rick.
But you know it's not going to be
but
just Rick.
They're all the three of them and Cueto are the slimiest slime balls that ever slimed a ball.
Yes.
Okay? And I just don't see it being if it's going to be Morrison versus Big Rick, I don't see it being a fair fight.
Oh, definitely not.
And even if it was a fair fight, it wouldn't stay a fair fight.
No. Because
Big Rick can't beat Morrison in a fair fight. I just don't see that happening.
There's going to be some shenanigans.
But yeah, I mean, Jesus. I've made this remark with them when they were doing the previously on video package that was, 1/4 as good as mine.
They do it every...
They do it every episode, but Cueto's like a better Vince character.
You were saying that earlier.
He's a good Vince McMahon type character without all the weird stuff behind it.
That we know of.
As far as we know. But yeah, Dario Cueto, he seems kind of like a cool guy as far as like a bad, no chance that's what you got style villain type character.
Right. But he doesn't pretend he's something else.
Oh no! He's a scumball. I mean, straight up, he was scared for his life. He pulled the, "I'm just an advocate. I'm just an advocate,"
Whatever you want, just don't hurt me.
This suit costs more than your life. So, interior, Dario Cueto's office.
Cueto's paying Rick for the next week.
Yeah, he's paying Rick money to
hospitalize.
to hospitalize John Morrison
next week.
Because not only does he not want Rick to lose, but the bigger thing is he doesn't know what is going to happen
exactly
with Morrison after he gets done with Big Rick. So he's putting stacks of hundreds in his hand.
And he said, "If you need more, I can write you a check."
Right. This fed us right into the match.
Well, there was a Prince Puma...
there was a Prince Puma video package.
Yeah.
Boring, blah, blah, blah.
It was basically all the same thing.
It's the same old shit. It confuses me a little bit why they're running vignettes for wrestlers who already debuted and then surprising us with new wrestlers. The most intriguing thing was it said Prince Puma only on Lucha Underground. Well, you go to the Wikipedia page and yeah, he didn't do much before Lucha Underground. I mean, he did do some New Japan stuff. He did meet some notable people, you know. This was kind of... You go and you find out that this is his first major breakout role.
Yeah.
And given the stretch that Lucha Underground went between the years of 2014 and 2017. A certain somebody debuted on WWE in 2018.
So yeah, the end of Lucha Underground.
To budget costs. So it's not a big hoorah as I thought it was going to be. I think that, and this can come in our retrospective later, but I think people are ready for a show like Lucha Underground.
Yes.
The fanage, whatever. Anyway, we were fed right into
the product that we got during COVID is evidence that we're ready for that kind of thing.
WWE needs a show. I don't care what anybody says about WWE needs this. WWE needs to hire that person. AEW needs this. AEW needs that. What these shows need is a scripted, structured show.
Where they can just do anything.
That has awesome video packages like Morrison beating ass in the hallway and kicking somebody into the office of Dario Cueto to demand not money, but a fight.
Yes. His revenge.
You know, this comic book style scripted action show would go a long way, I think, today.
Oh, definitely.
And so I am full on behind Cueto finding new luchadors and stocking up another roster, because I honestly think that this is what Ring of Honor could turn into.
Yes. It'd be nice if they did something with Ring of Honor.
So, fight time. And it was the main event, which was the triple threat.
Drago versus Pentagon Jr. versus Phoenix.
Who
is your favorite?
What?
Who is your favorite?
Who's my favorite? Of course. There's one and only answer. It is Phoenix.
Of course. I love Drago's tongue.
With the goop?
Yeah.
He has like this slime thing in his mouth, and he spits it out a little bit and slurps it back up like a snot loogie. But it's super cool because it's this black slime.
Blackish blue tongue.
And it turns into like a whippy snake tongue. And it's his whole costume's kind of cool. Drago's he's got this blue, like, scaly, carapace looking everything.
He's basically a dragon.
He is basically a dragon. Then you got Pentagon Jr. and whatever his kabuki warrior look is.
And then Phoenix.
And Phoenix, who is just, he's a guy in a mask. I mean, what can you say?
And tights. Mask and tights.
He has more substance than... All these guys have more substance than their look. Some of them are extravagant and crazy. But all these guys, man,
they're all high flyers.
They were definitely the main event of a Lucha Underground show.
Yeah.
Like,
I put down, this is what you watch Lucha Underground for.
It is. Dario Cueto knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
He was trying to be a sass about it, but, it ended up being a great match anyway.
With Phoenix flying off top of
Cueto's. We didn't get there.
Well.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
Gotta have some pageantry about it. This is Lucha Underground, damn it! So we had... it was a barn burner. There was a lot of fighting. A lot of amazing tag team looking moves.
Between Phoenix and Pentagon.
Just literally some people doing moves that fed the move into another person to do a move. Now, granted, all three of these guys were doing shit like this, so it's really showing how professional they are. But one of the moves sent Phoenix to the outside, and he just slowly started to climb the steps of the temple.
Yeah.
And it was just Pentagon and Drago in the ring for a while.
And the camera doesn't pay attention to him.
Not at all. So the fighting between Pentagon and Drago spills to the outside, and they stand up just in time for a wild Phoenix to do what now? What did Phoenix do?
He jumped off the top of Quito's office, which I think Vampiro said it must be about 30 feet up in the air.
It's gotta be at least 70 feet. It was pretty high.
Yeah.
Because it didn't go to the ring. It went to the floor.
It went to the floor. And his office is pretty tall.
Yep. And this isn't like a padded mat outside the ring. This is like
It's like concrete.
Picture the stuff that's underneath your carpet or floors. That's the shit that's on the floor of the temple. We have all this go back into the inside. A little bit more action. Who?
And then Phoenix does like a reverse Frankensteiner Hurricane Rodon thing, which is not my words. It's Vampiro's or Matt Stryker's or something.
Yeah.
And Phoenix wins.
Phoenix wins on who?
On Drago.
Drago. Ah, yes. Starting the many disappointments of Drago.
Ah, Drago.
But yeah, Phoenix won. Out of all three of them. Although it really could have been any of the guys winning.
Yeah.
Because they were.
I think it was on Drago. Wasn't it?
Who cares? Watch the product.
Phoenix won.
Watch the product. We're not going to give you all the answers. Phoenix won. Then it was sent off with this typical sign off. Good night, everybody.
And then they show Cityscape.
But this time it panned into
like
a cage.
Cell.
A cell, yeah. And Quato's there talking to someone.
Or something.
We don't know what it is, but he clasped his key and he said, I'm not about to be afraid of John Morrison. There's no one that's going to scare me, including you. And then, like, a shadow pans in front of the light and blacks out and silhouettes Quato.
Yeah.
And that's how the episode ends. Quato was talking to something or someone
in a cage.
That
he has
I'm
the key
assuming that that's what the key is for. That's around Quato's neck. Is this whatever is locked away?
Yeah.
That scares him.
Or
He's
otherwise
lying.
He wouldn't be locked in the cage.
He's lying if he says it doesn't scare him. But yeah, that was the end of this episode of Lucha Underground. A lot of very interesting stuff coming up.
Yeah.
What's happening with Blue Demon? Is Masquerade Sagrada all right?
What's going to happen, Chavo?
Who's coming after Chavo? And is he all right in Lucha Underground?
And
John
when
Morrison,
will Mil Muertes come after him?
Oh, Mil Muertes.
Katrina's already got the taste.
He's been marked. His ass is fucking grass, and it's going to be either in the form of a cartel or whatever is going to be hunting him, or Mil Muertes, who is also hunting him. I mean, he's hunted outside of Lucha Underground, and he's hunted inside of Lucha Underground.
Yeah, there's literally nowhere you can go.
He's rocking a shit brick house named Mil Muertes. Then will Morrison get his revenge?
Yeah. Or will Big Rick and the boys destroy him?
I mean, yeah, who knows? But we're going to find out in the main event of
next week.
Look out for it. Look out for it. What is Quato hiding in a cage? I don't know, but we'll find out. Maybe.
I didn't even think you got that far, did you?
No. I'm going to admit that I have watched all this stuff, and this will be the 5th or 6th time that I've watched this stretch of content. But, oh my goodness. It's still just as thrilling and just as surprising this time around.
This is only my 2nd time.
We're getting up to where you haven't seen anything new.
It's been a while.
Been a while.
I don't really remember most of it.
Since I have watched Lucha Underground with him. It's been a while.
Yeah, we were still at the old house.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're taking it a bit more seriously now. But, hey, guys. That's the end of the episode. Welcome. You've made it. And this is where I present you the little folder where you put your credit card that has the receipt, and I say, one like and subscribe, please. Thank you. And if you would like to leave a tip, please share this to a few of your friends and tell them if they enjoy it to share it to their friends.
Yeah.
And tell them all to like and subscribe because likes are the new currency and I like being paid.
And leave comments.
Yeah, tell me I'm a bitch. Tell me I'm a bitch to my face. Put it in the comments and tell me I'm a bitch.
Tell us what you think of Lucha Underground or any other, wrestling.
That's right, tell Cueto he's a bitch. Tell him to his face. Put it in the comments and tell him he's a bitch.
What's in the cage?
What's in the cage? We don't know. We probably will never know. I don't know.
I hope we find out.
It's been a while.
Hopefully we find out before the show ends.
That'd be nice. Such a short run. I tell you.
That would kind of suck if it
I've said
ended.
it once already. That it's kind of and I'm sure we're gonna bring this up if we ever do like a quick retrospective between seasons or whatever. Wrestling needs a show like this.
It's the second time you've said it in this episode.
Yeah, wrestling needs a show like this.
But it deserves a reiteration.
It needs a high scripted show where things like the Funhouse match can happen whenever they want it to.
Or the Boneyard match.
A minimal audience type episode where, because that's all this is. This is pre-recorded content with a minimal audience, which is what I've been saying for years would make a very good WWE show.
There's no frills, there's no
frills in the fighting, it's regular WWE, it's regular wrestling action.
Yeah.
But it's framed by some of the best produced vignette and promo content I've ever... There's no getting on the microphone and saying, blah, 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 I hate the boss, blah, blah, beer.
Respect. Respect.
It's John Morrison beating ass in the hallway, kicking down the door and saying, give me a fucking match.
It's about revenge and heroes and villains and...
It's Mil Muertes pissed at Chavo Guerrero.
For disrespecting the heritage.
Well, it has nothing to do with the heritage. Blue Demon was marked by Katrina.
True.
And Chavo was like, nah, that shit's mine.
Chavo took Mil Muertes' mark. So
it's like... It's framed by really, really well-produced content that the only way I can describe it is superhero movie.
Yeah.
Comic book vignette.
But it's not as preachy.
No, you're not getting any Steiner math. You're not seeing Rey Mysterio break a shelf.
God.
You're not going to have high school acting. This is John Morrison at his most competent acting.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly certain he's been in movies, right?
Yeah. I don't know what he's been in, but I know he's been in things.
Well, we'll have that by next time.
I'll make a note.
She's the man that hits rebound in his congeniality. Nah. We'll list them off as songs, the 2 movies he's in. But it's it's solid content, and it's really it's a shame it went under to budget cuts. Because if they were to do it again today, it wouldn't go under to budget cuts.
Well, they're trying to do it again today.
As far as I know,
with MLW.
He's Dario Cueto's in MLW at the moment, and he's
got his briefcase of money.
He's got his briefcase of money, and he's going around the world finding people again. So
should be interesting.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some extra cuts for you guys. We might even take this off the YouTube video and only have this be part of the Patreon content. Good night, everybody. I'm going to bed.
Same.